He's got the whole world in his hand. He's got the whole world. Hi there and welcome. I'm Kelsey from the Be a Better Guide project, and you're at another community Q&A. So our question today often comes from people who are looking to get jobs in the travel industry and they want to travel the world and work. So the question usually goes something along the lines of what's the difference between a tour guide, a tour director or tour manager, and tour leader? What do all these terms mean, and what are the jobs that go with them? So let's take a look at some of these terms and how they're used in the real world. And then at the end, I think you're going to see that there's a lot more overlap and it's not quite so cut and dry. But firstly, let's take a look at the term tour guide and how it's traditionally used. A tour guide usually refers to an individual who has a specialty or an expertise or particular knowledge, and they're engaged to do a tour that's generally shorter. So a perfect example would be someone who gives a city tour. If you're going to San Francisco and you want to have a tour guide for the afternoon, they can walk you around. Now, the terms or jobs, tour director and tour manager, are often used pretty interchangeably. And this refers to somebody who is in charge of a longer tour generally, and they're kind of responsible to make sure everything goes smoothly. So some of their responsibilities include coordinating all the logistics, any sort of social coordination or making social events happen. They might also be kind of like the go-to person. If something happens on a tour, that tour manager, tour director is who you would go to get that problem sorted out. So a great way to think about that is if you've got a tour director or tour manager, they might work with many different tour guides. The tour managers and tour directors will often find work in the incentives industry and the meetings and conferences industry. So these both refer to the corporate world. Incentives industry refers to vacations that are offered as incentives or bonuses to their employees. So think IBM might want to offer a paid week's vacation in Honolulu to their senior most executives at the end of the year, kind of as a reward for their great work, or it could be a reward or incentive to get certain employees to work harder. So they'll work with destination management companies to plan out the tour, and IBM's busy doing computer stuff, so they don't have time to plan that whole vacation. They're going to work with a company and they're going to have a tour manager or tour director who will work with all those employees as they arrive. They may pick them up at the airport, coordinate with the hotels, and make sure that experience is a great one. The meetings and conferences industry is the same sort of thing, but these were more based around business events. So say there's a big conference happening in Los Angeles, there's going to be destination management companies there as well who are maybe managing smaller activities. Say after the conference, we've got a week and they'll set up activities. So that's mainly where you'll find work as a tour director and tour manager. And sometimes that can be traveling, but sometimes that can be staying at home because you might come manage that tour for that week and then that group goes and another group comes in. Or some positions, and those are the prime positions if you love to travel, you'll actually go to many different destinations and meet many different groups. Okay, that seems fairly clear, but what about the term tour leader? What does that job refer to? Generally, a tour leader refers to somebody who works for a group travel company. So think of hiking destination companies or cycling destination companies, or even cultural ones where you go and you gather into a group, oftentimes strangers, but maybe it could be a private group, and you have, say, a week-long experience somewhere. So the tour leader role kind of combines some of the tour guide and some of the tour director kind of wrapped into a new role because they're not only the go-to person, but they are coordinating logistics. They're going to make sure everyone's having a good time, those sorts of things, but they'll probably have some specific knowledge too. Okay, but there's two kickers you should keep in mind. The first kicker is that these terms are not set in stone and they're often used interchangeably. So for example, Backroads, the company might prefer the term tour leader, while country walkers might prefer a term like tour guide. Even for tour managers, sometimes they're referred to as sort of experience ambassadors. And I know the company Gap Adventures is a Canadian company. They use the term CEO, a Chief Experience Officer. So these terms are going to vary a lot depending on which company you want to work for. The second kicker is that for all of these positions, you pretty much require the same underlying skill set. Now, of course, depending on what company you work for or are applying to, you might need specific experience or specific knowledge. But whether you're a tour guide, tour leader, tour director, chief experience officer, you're going to need to be able to be great with people. That's what it boils down to. You're going to need to be able to be an active listener, solve complex problems, handle complex logistics, be detail-oriented, be friendly, positive, enthusiastic, have a positive energy, and generally make people feel at ease while they're traveling and give them incredible experiences. So I hope that helped answer some of your questions about the difference between those roles and how they're used in the industry. Instead of a tweetable today, I was thinking that maybe we could just let some of our friends and peers know about the Be a Better Guide project and invite them to join in and join the conversation. Oh, speaking of conversation, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and thanks for being here. I'll see you next time. Honolulu. It's a small world after all.